Board all set? All set, Paul?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting. We're on. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Blackstock.
Here.
Blair.
Here.
Horn.
Here.
Pat Salas.
He's excused.
Oda. Here. Town. Here. Simons.
Here. Okay, Ms. Blair, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Get back in there, Donald.
Okay. Next thing is the approval of the agenda. As you see at your space there, we did a revision of the cover sheet of the agenda. Some bills were added, quite a number of them. They did another check run, so those are beyond there. So use that top sheet that we gave you. That's the only changes in the disbursements. I don't think I need a motion to do that, but I guess I need a motion to approve the agenda as presented if there's no additions or deletions to the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
And we have Mr. Boda and Mr. Horn. Get a motion to
Boda.
approve it. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We approve the agenda. Next, we have the approval of the minutes of February 5th, 2018.
There are no additions or deletions or corrections. I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes of February 5, 2018.
Support.
It's been moved and supported that we approve the minutes of February 5, 2018. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have public comment. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak on anything that's not on the agenda? And I think both of you are on the agenda, so we don't have to do anything there. Moving on to the consent agenda, we have the C1, February 6, 2018, St. Clair River Sewer and Water Authority minutes. We have the C2 is the February 7th, 2018 Historical Commission minutes. We have the C3, which is the January 2018 St. Clair Fire Report. Next is the C4 is the January 10th, 2018 Park Commission minutes. And C5 is the February 1, 2018 Beautification Committee minutes. C6 is the January 2018 Revenue and Expenditure Report. And C7 is the Capital Asset Management Fund. And C8 is the February 13, 2018 River Sewer Water and Authority minutes. St. Clair River Sewer and Water Authority minutes. If there's no questions on the consent agenda, a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll support.
Okay, we have a motion and support to accept the consent agenda as presented. Is there any further discussion anyone has? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have disbursements. We have invoices of $117,718.62. We have accounts payable of $68,480.60. We have a payroll of $591.91. We have a direct deposit of $25,611.04. We have ETF payments of $9,478.01. for a total disbursement of $221,880.18.
I'll make a motion that we pay the disbursements in the amount of $221,880.18.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion, we have support to pay the bills. Is there any further discussion about the bills? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Blackstock.
Yes.
Blair.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
Boda.
Yes.
Town, yes. Simons.
Yes, motion carries, we pay the bills. All right, moving on to new business, we have item 1 is Audrey Danielson, FFL discussion. Does anybody, did you were at the last meeting under public comment, you brought this up, so we added you to the agenda. I'm going to put it out to the board if somebody wants to speak on it, or,
Yeah, I have some information.
okay.
I spoke with Angelo prior to this meeting. He had contacted quite a few people, actually. He spoke with both police chiefs from St. Clair as well as Marine City. I believe he spoke with the sheriff,
I spoke to
or you spoke with the sheriff,
He talked to the undersheriff.
the undersheriff.
Undersheriff.
He spoke to quite a few people, including the planning department, our planning commission. And, in terms of zoning, there's really nothing that states that this is not a good use. Neither police chief nor the sheriff had any issues with the FFL license. They said there are numerous FFLs, they verified within both cities. One of them, I don't remember who, actually made the comment that there are probably individuals in this community that have more firearms as a public citizen than what this couple will have in their home. So with that information, I don't see an issue with this being granted in our township.
I've done a lot of inquiries on my own too, and not so much as are you legal, not talking to the police, but more talking to neighbors and citizens, and I found out that you're a good neighbor and an upstanding citizen, so I support what you're doing.
I want to support it.
I actually talked to all these people. I talked to both police chiefs, I talked to the undersheriff, I talked to the planning commission chairman. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people in the last 2 weeks since you were here. And I agree with what Herb says. I don't see any problem with it. Everybody seems to support it. A couple of things that the undersheriff suggested, and this is only a suggestion, if you get this, it's nothing you have to do, but he said it might be advisable to let the sheriff come to your house one day, just to see where you have things, so if there is an incident, they would know where to go and where the stuff is in your house. I mean, it's strictly voluntarily if you want to do something like that. He's just suggesting it. That was his comment the undersheriff made, because we're protected by the St. Clair County Sheriffs in East China. The other thing, talking to the planning commission chairman, he thought, and I kind of agree with him too, we should really be concerned with the safety factors of what you have. I mean, do you have a safe? Do you have this? Do you have that? And looking at the goodwill for all the residents, which, again, that's strictly voluntary if you want to share that, because you're being policed by the ATF. I've had quite a few discussions with the ATF. I mean, and I think they agree with what this board's saying too. I mean, there's going to be some foot traffic, but we don't feel that it's going to be excessive. But if it is excessive at the renewal, we'll speak up. If we get a lot of complaints, then we will speak up at that time. But that's 2 or 3 years from now when it comes up for renewal, unless you're doing something that they're gonna actually do the policing of it, the FFL. So I guess I don't know if we need a motion. If the board is, we need something in the minutes that we're approving
Well,
this.
I can make a motion, I'll make a motion that we allow folks here to Jeremy and Andre Danielson be allowed to apply for and get in possession of the FFL license.
I will
Awesome.
support that.
Which one?
Kathy. Okay, we got a motion and a second to allow this, and what this entails, I talked to the ATF again today, and all we need to do is have a phone call from me. We don't need no paperwork, they don't need no letter, all they need is a phone call, so I will make that phone call after we vote. So we have a motion, we have a second, that's my part of the discussion. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Want a roll call on that?
No, we're not spending any money. I don't think we need a roll call, so. I will make that phone call tomorrow. I mean, you're free to go if you want, or if you want to sit through the rest of the meeting, you're welcome to. Okay, moving on next to new business, item 2. We need a committee for the non-union office manager. And right now, that person is only underneath the employee policy, the only person. To what raise do we give? Does anybody want to be on that committee?
I do.
We got Mr. Town.
I would like
Got a
to,
question. Why do we even want to make it look like we're giving her a contract when she's a salaried at-will employee?
We're not given a written contract, no.
But you're still giving her a contract. She's gonna want something in writing,
Um,
I would assume.
I don't know.
And I can't see giving a written contract.
I don't think we
to
should
her.
give her a written contract, no.
Well, I don't think so either, but why even get involved in it? She's been
Well,
getting.
what do you want me, what do you want
Well, I'm
to do?
just
Tell me
saying,
what you
she's,
want me to
all
do.
I'm saying is she's been getting, whatever the union gets, she gets. And it's been that way for a number of years. Why start messing with it now when it works?
She came to me and she wants to talk about it. She has other issues
Oh.
beside that.
I don't know why she'd want to talk about it, but if she does, she does. I just don't want to.
It's
Yeah,
still gonna be
her-
this board's decision to make that decision.
I understand that, but I don't think we should get involved in it.
What is she looking for, a contract?
No, I don't
Well,
think she's.
I was gonna say, no contract.
Larry, I would like to be excused from helping with that because I work under her with my
Oh.
cleaning. Otherwise, I would be happy to volunteer. She's a good employee.
I mean,
It says I go bring the Honduras back, that's what's going to end up.
okay. Well, that's your opinion, and
I thought at one time we were gonna go for a township manager and
I'm all for
then
that too.
he could go to he could be our assessor if possibly, he could be the building inspector, just like they were before. They had 4 different
Yeah.
jobs.
Right.
Robert Troy and Kavanaugh both had 4 different jobs.
Well, I mean, I put it out here, this is the discussion we're having, I mean, I'm getting other opinions. I just put it that, I didn't want to make that decision
I'd like
myself.
this.
I didn't want to say what we were going to give her, or what we weren't. I mean, we gave the union some other things that weren't that
I just don't
aren't
think
covered
it-
under the employee policy.
Isn't this,
I just don't think anything needs to be involved, and she's been getting all the union stuff all along, so what
Okay.
difference does it make?
so this isn't her salary and vacation, it's not documented anywhere else? Or
She
is this-
falls under the employee policy, yeah, I guess, under her job description, I guess is what it falls under.
She just got a pretty good increase in the budget on hers,
She did?
the office manager, yes.
I don't think she got any more money.
There was an increase in there on something.
Well, probably is the hospitalization. That's what shot them all up. And then when we went to the 32% that were contributing to MERS, that added a lot to it too. To each line item.
But I think we should be going the other way and look for a township manager, maybe take over 2 or 3 of these different jobs.
Okay.
Well, she's also the deputy clerk, and I think that we should meet with her and listen to what she has to say.
She's been deputy clerk ever since she left the board. How many years has that been? 15, 16?
What's that?
She's, when she got
Don,
the
can you speak
position
up?
where she's at now, she came off the township board, went into that position.
Right.
And
She was
No.
a township clerk, I believe, wasn't she?
she was a township clerk.
And you guys set her wages at the time?
At that time, yeah.
Uh,
I mean, the township board hasn't had a raise in 16 years.
Closer to 20.
So,
Jack did. Jack done the wages on her.
Jack did a lot of things the way
I know one thing, I voted against putting her in there.
That's before my time. So what do you want me to do here? You want me to give her a 2% raise like everybody else? Is that what the board's considering, or?
I mean, what other issues, are there other issues?
She didn't tell me, you talked to her.
Right. Well, she wants to know about insurance when she retires.
What does she make? What does she make an hour?
She makes 40 cents more.
Than the person she supervises.
She's
What
making
was
how much
that?
more?
40 cents an hour more than the people she supervises.
40 cents a lot more.
Well, I just thought we should do this in the committee
I
first.
think we should just leave it like it is.
I mean, it's obvious she's probably looking for more insurance, she's looking for this, looking for
She
that.
won't appreciate me, but
Well,
Give her 2% the union got.
I think we
You know,
should.
people have got
Two
benefits
reports
as
back
it
to
is,
the
it's
board.
awful hard to take benefits away from somebody that's had them for a number of years. You go try and take those away from them and it raises all kinds of gain. So just give her 2%, let it go. That's what she's looking for, I don't know.
I think one of the big issues she's looking for is the insurance. And we made the policy when one of the other employees left, that we've been living by for, 3 or 4 years. I don't know if that needs updating or what. I mean, if that's what she asked you.
What we need is a survey, and I've asked her to provide one, say from MTA, what the other townships pay of the same size. We need something to compare it with. She's underpaid, no doubt about it.
She's underpaid?
Oh, yes.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. We'll see what the survey shows.
she's an at-will employee, right?
But that doesn't mean you underpay her. She'll get an offer and be gone.
So what do you want to do? Let's see. I got one says to just give her 2%.
Give her 2%, forget about the rest of
How many do you need for this committee?
Many as you want.
What'd you say, Don? What'd you say?
it. 2%,
I mean,
forget about the rest.
If it's just salary,
The other one's
whatever,
got it, I guess.
what else is she concerned about? I don't know what it,
Healthcare,
Healthcare.
okay,
because we don't have a healthcare.
but you just said we have a policy,
We have a policy that we gave to one employee when they left.
okay?
That
That
was,
doesn't stand for everybody else that was in that
I
position?
guess it stands for everybody else. It's $500 up to you retire, as your 50% match on the
Mhm.
insurance. But she won't be eligible underneath the union insurance because she's a non-union employee.
Well, they've
So she's
rejected,
gonna have to have,
they've rejected that anyway. The union did,
rejected what?
that she be allowed under the union
No, I said she
insurance.
can't be under the union
Oh.
insurance. She's gonna have to find her own
Upon
insurance.
retirement,
Upon
No,
retirement. She's
now.
No, she's under the union's insurance right now.
Oh, is she?
Yes.
Okay.
But upon retirement, she will not be on the union's insurance. I think it's worth looking at, listening to it anyways, and if that's what it ends up being, that's what it ends up being. So if Greg wants to be on the committee, I'll check with Angelo and see if he wants to be on. Kathy said she doesn't feel she should be.
I mean, is it gonna take place during the day?
What's that?
Is it during the workday? Are you gonna meet with her? I'm assuming so.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Can you do it?
I need to know in advance when.
I spoke with Angelo
We'll
today.
let you know in advance. Do you want it?
I spoke with Angelo today, he said he'd be willing to go.
You would be? Okay. You want to be on it, Herb? Can't be more than,
If you need a third, I will be on it.
okay. I'll,
Well, she works for the supervisor. So you should be on it, I think.
Well, that's what I'm wondering is why, if she works for you, can't we just get a list of what she's concerned about and discuss this? I mean,
I
it
can do
sounds like
that.
we need a policy that's township-wide. It's not just for her. We're not
well, it'll
tailoring.
be township-wide, and she's the only one.
Well, that's what I mean, now. I mean,
Right
we
now,
don't know what's
that's-
gonna happen 30 years from now, but you might as well have a policy. If we don't already have one,
Right.
what's going to happen?
Well, maybe that needs to be developed.
Right.
Well, we're not gonna come with a list and bring it to the board because it's just a waste of the board's time. We stay here late enough as it is. You need a committee to bring a recommendation and the board votes.
I don't know what she wants. I don't know all she wants. But I know,
She shouldn't get any more than the other ones got if she's gonna get anything.
No, she's non-union, and she's also a supervisor.
all right, so we'll just make the committee of what we had for the negotiations, myself, Greg, and Angelo, and we'll bring everything back to the board before we do anything and ask for discussion. All right?
Before we go on this, I would like to open it up and maybe for the next meeting or down the road, that we should look at your salary.
Well, I
Because
think we'd have to look at all of them, wouldn't we?
Yeah, there hasn't been a
I'm not
raise.
worried about my own, but I know you spend a lot of time here.
Right.
So I would like to see you want to run for reelection again.
No, I don't.
Because-
I shouldn't kill them.
Because
I
you're,
said that last time. and that
you're
didn't
paid
go here.
amply. You do a good
Right.
job, you put a lot of time
Well, I would
in.
like to get, one thing I should be getting is something from my phone. I've never got that. I mean, they've offered me a phone, but I don't want to carry two phones. So I think if I could get a stipend for my phone, that would help too. You don't do this job for the money because it takes too much time. But yeah, I think it's something, and that, the MTA does have a study thing that you can go by, and it goes by the value of your township, and there's a lot of criteria that goes into the formula that comes up with what you should be paying everybody, your trustees, your, maybe we could look into that now that we're done with the negotiations.
Yeah, I think that would be an important thing to look
Okay.
into.
Well, we can put it on the agenda next time if you want. Okay. We'll write that down. Okay, so we'll discuss that. Next item under new business is part-time clerical work, 20 to 25 hours. What that is we've always had a part-time person. We were close to hiring one just before we got involved with the clerical union contract. We put it to a halt at that time. I don't know if everybody remembers that. We actually had interviewed, and we were gonna offer the job to the person, and then we put the brakes on it. So, with the situation we've got here in the office, we really should have that part-time person just to help as a backup. I mean, Mr. Boda come in and worked a little bit here a few days ago. I mean, Greg has been here, I've been here. We've even had Mark Miano, he's helped us. When we got one off on long-term, and then if somebody is on vacation, which we can't deny vacations that we put in months ahead of time, and then somebody calls in sick, we were down to one person there a couple of days. So, I don't know, how does the board feel about that?
I think I mentioned at the last meeting, if we could find one of these companies that supply people for, I don't know if you could say township positions, but they'll be familiar with the water billing, how we do that. Different operations in an office, administrator, have a city or a township office.
Yeah, I don't know if those
I don't think
people
it
are
would be- I
available.
don't think it would be killer girls, but well, it would be, but I don't think it is.
I mean, and usually what we did with our other employees is they're the ones that come into as being our next full-time employees, like we hired our bookkeeper.
Yeah, well, see if you can find somebody that does the water billings and stuff like that, like Teresa does. At least it'll be a working knowledge, and she's gone, somebody to step right in.
But if we hire a Kelly girl, then that's gonna be a contractor.
Yeah, but I was saying, I don't know if we want, we don't know if we want a Kelly girl or not.
I mean, that type of a company that furnishes just manpower is what you're saying. We can look into that.
I don't know if there's such an animal out there.
I don't know if there's neither. But I mean, what we've done in the past is put an ad in the paper and see what we get, you know, and the last time, we got actually a retired CPA, which would have really been, he just wanted to work, 20 hours a week. But he would have been very knowledgeable for all that stuff. And that's another thing, we're getting up to the point with the money we're spending on CPAs, to do our audits, to do our books and all that, it's getting to be a large number.
Yes, it is.
We could almost get to the point where we could hire a CPA. A lot of townships have CPAs on. And that could be another hat that the person could wear, like what Don was saying for a township manager. I mean, this job is a lot to do as a part-time township supervisor. You guys been on the board for 30-some years. You lived through the Bob Troys, the Kavanaughs. I mean, how did it go when we had a township manager?
Troy did a good job, so did Kavanaugh until the end.
Right. But I mean, did it run smooth? I mean, I'm making all these
I
decisions.
thought that when Troy was in the office and his own office, things seemed to run a lot smoother.
Right.
It was just boom, boom, boom.
Well, he had control of the whole township.
Yes, he did.
So I really think that's something we should look at.
Which is the township manager's gonna do too, be touching base with all departments,
Well, I mean,
setting up budgets.
I'm kind of acting as the township manager right now. I mean, I'm dealing with contracts, I'm dealing with employees, I'm dealing with all these other meetings. I mean, I don't really think that's the scope of my job, but it's the job that I've taken over because Jack did it.
That's why you need a manager.
Right, so. All right, well, we'll look into that then. So what do you want to do? Somebody want to make a motion that we can do this part-time clerical worker?
How
Check
long?
out,
Is that just temporary, or?
well, part-time, we can let them go at any time. They will not be a union member. It's in the contract. They're about part-time employees. If they work less than so many hours, they're not a full-time. You can turn it on, turn it off whenever you want.
So do you just want a motion to start looking for?
Yeah,
such
to
a
put
person?
an ad in the paper to interview.
I'll make a motion that you begin the process of looking for a part-time clerical.
I will support that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to place an ad or start looking for a part-time clerical worker. Is there any further discussion?
Who made that motion?
Herb and
Blackstock.
Kathy. Is there any further discussion on this? Hearing none, I guess we better do roll call on this one. We will be spending money.
Blair,
Yes.
Horn,
Yes.
Oda,
Yes,
Town, yes. Blackstock,
Yes.
Simons.
Yes. Motion carries. All right, moving on to new business, item 4. We have Travis Front to attend operator's math class. What this is, they came to me, as you know, our policy says that we will pay for the person's day off to go attend classes. This is what he's asking for. He's already paid for the class, he's going to pay all his expenses, he just wants the day off to go to class.
it's going to be one day, always going to have several days
It's
off,
going to have 8 days.
8 days.
So that's why I put it on the agenda. And I have a letter from the supervisor. If anybody wants to read it, I got that this afternoon. I had him write one up. And it's saying, I'm requesting that Travis be permitted to take the operator's math class offered by the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality. This is an 8-week course held on Friday mornings from March 9th to April 23rd from 9 to noon. Travis has already registered and paid for the class and is seeking no reimbursements for any costs associated with the training other than the paid days off which he attends. His attendance will cause no overtime and will aid in the efforts to pass the F2 operator certification exam on May 2nd. I actually got the policy here that says, and I think everybody's quite familiar with it, that we will give the employee the days off. I was just going to give it to him, but then when it came to the 8 days, I thought maybe the board should know what we're doing here.
Well, if he's already, to me, if he's already gone ahead and paid for the class, and done all the preparation stuff, and says he'll pay for all of it.
He's paying for everything.
No, he's asking for us a day off, which we already said we would.
Right,
So I've got no problem with it.
okay. And I have no problem with it.
As vacation days or just paid days?
No, it's not
Paid work
vacation.
days.
We pay the day off for him to attend a class. We do that for all the employees. But this was a unique circumstance because it's an 8-week course, so he's going to have to go 8 different, Mondays or Fridays?
Fridays.
What day it is.
How long has he been an employee?
Probably 10, 15 years, I would think. I don't know exactly.
I would like to see the newer ones go.
Well, they're going. I mean, we picked up another top license at the sewer plant. And this will be something that I think we should open up the training a little bit to encourage more people to do the training. I mean, and we've had some discussion with our committee a little bit about talking about doing that for,
It's Friday mornings from 9 till noon.
Yeah, it's gonna be an 8-day deal.
yeah, it would be 1 day a week
Yep.
for 8 days, yeah. But what it is he's written for this class, this license twice, and he's having a hard time getting it because of the design of our plant, what we do, and I don't know all the terminology, but there's maybe you know, Andrew, it's a surface water plant or some other kind of plant, and it's a lot of math and figuring for these other places. I don't know if these other plants are like wells or something. And
Source water is different.
so he doesn't, we don't work with that type of math that they have to do to figure this. So when he reviewed his test with the DEQ the 2 times, what's holding him back is the math. So they suggested, the DEQ suggested he take this class, and it'll help him get through the test, and then he'll be able to get the license, because he's paying this money to write these licenses. It costs a lot of money. I think it's a great thing, and I think we should be doing it, but, and it sounds like we're gonna do it, we're not gonna deny him. But that's what he's saying, and I think I know it's 8 days, but,
Well, I'll commend them for
yeah.
going and paying for it.
So I don't believe we need a motion to do that. Do you think we need a motion to do that? I mean, it's in
It's
our
our
policy, we're
Yeah, we trouble.
just getting the okay from the board. Nobody has a problem with it? Okay. Now,
Would have been nice if it was only 4 days.
well, or 2 days, or like Cassie just suggested, if they could do it all in like 2 days or
Yeah.
1 day, or,
Yeah.
but they don't have, they only offer this class, and they only offer it in Lansing, so I mean, he's gonna have a substantial amount of money in gas driving to Lansing for 8 days. Okay, that takes care of number 4. Now we have new business number 5, is the $835.99 for the Northeast Watershed 2018 budget allocation.
Is that a raise since last year?
I don't think it is, Dot. If it is, it's not very much.
Okay.
And that is really probably a pretty good bang for our buck. Do you guys do any of that, Andrew, like the watershed? We used to have our past engineers used to do that years ago.
Watershed.
Larry, how come they got Anchor Bay in there?
So our budget. To pay their
Northeastern,
fee.
Anchor Bay, Bell River.
Yeah, it covers the whole
Is it
area.
for studying the watershed?
Are we paying for Anchor Bay? or-
No, it's a,
What do they do? What is that?
It's
We have
for
to-
our permitted
S4.
stormwater runoff.
Uh-huh.
We're permitted and we have to submit a SWIPy
Right.
and all that. I don't know if you guys have ever done any of that.
Yeah, that's a discharge from,
Right.
for your surface runoff. if that's within the SWIP program, then there's grant money for that.
Oh.
So,
Well, we're in this northeast watershed, and it's
you
about,
weren't investigating yet. I mean,
it's
every
about
year.
20 communities.
SWIP is your surface water intake protection. That's what SWIP stands for. And sometimes when you're discharging into the same body of water in which you're drawing water in for your water plant, then that's considered a potential contamination source. And so a part of studying that is this SWIP grant program. And every year they give money to communities. In fact, IRID is doing the renewal now.
Well,
Not
maybe
doing
we'll
grant.
talk about that when we
Yeah,
have
we
our
can.
discussion next week.
Sure.
Okay. But that's what it is now, we're in the northeast watershed is, and we're
I know,
the smallest
right.
entity in that.
I was just trying. I was
I'd like
trying
to see them
remember
have,
if more
I'd like to see them what Anchor Bay is paying on it though. See
Well,
that?
it's the whole watershed, it's not Anchor Bay per se. Anchor Bay is down there in Clay Township and Ira, and they're in a different, but it's the whole Anchor Bay area, you know, we go, all the water that runs off, it's part of the St. Clair River one too, it's all part of that.
Okay,
I mean,
Just
it's a
like you
good
got-
thing, I sat on the committee for years.
It could be a database.
Just like the Marine
Is
City
it
drain
a
plant,
database
it's
of the
Salem Spring
contaminant?
City, that is in the Bell River, that is in the
Database.
Big River.
Is that
They all
for them
have
to
the watershed.
prepare potential contaminant sources?
Yeah,
to
what
get-
we've done is we, instead of having 20 engineers, nothing against
Yeah.
engineers, but instead of having 20 engineers,
Yeah.
we got one.
Yeah,
And we all pay in for the one.
yeah.
We were paying
It's like
probably
some
before
kind.
this down
Yeah,
about
they submit as a
$6,000 a year.
I know it.
So, to
And they
our
got
other
nothing,
engineering.
and we really got nothing out of it.
But this gets us through all our stuff, and our representative now, Herb went to it for years, didn't you?
He did.
I went to it for years. Gary Arnold, the clerk, went to it for years. Now, nobody wants to go to it, so we sent Sandy Smith to it, because she prepares the SWIPPY. She does all the paperwork on it.
For a permit, $800 is, where are you gonna beat that?
Wait.
So I guess we need a motion to do our $835.99 to the Northeast Watershed.
Well, I'll make that motion that we pay them the $835.99 to the Northeastern Anchor Bay Bell River watershed.
Support.
I'll support it.
Herb got it right. Okay, we have a motion and a support for the $935.99. Is there any further discussion?
Yes, my question is the grant, Andrew, for money like this, for the bills?
Is that grant eligible? I can't say
I
for
think we've
sure,
got
but
grants for the watershed
But I
itself.
would think so, yeah. Anything study related is typically grant eligible.
So should we look for a grant before we pay out the cash?
But
Or
if you
I
do,
don't think so.
your grant application would go in June.
in
So
June?
You might be missing your due date.
Yeah, we
Okay,
got it. And this, how this is set up too, is how they come up with this $835 is by population. And we are the smallest entity in the county in this. And this has 3 school districts are in it, I think. Marysville, East China, and Port Huron are in it.
And remember, every grant would be, well, SWIP grants are 50/50, so 50% matching,
okay,
and they're reimbursable. Most grants are, which
okay,
means you got to pay first.
Okay.
To give you the money back.
So we will be paid first.
So we can
Okay.
try to get the half the money back.
Yeah, we'll talk about that on that.
Good.
Talk to him.
good.
So any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Voda,
Yes.
Blackstock.
Yes.
Horn,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes,
Town, yes. Simons,
Yes, motion carries. We pay our $835.99. Okay, moving on to new business, item 6. Assessor's contract discussion. The assessor came to me and asked me what we were going to do. His contract is expired in June. He's coming to us early because he would like to know if we're not going to do something, he wants to sign up for something. So he would like to know by the end of March what we're going to do.
According to this contract he signed, it expired in 2003.
these 10 resolutions to add to it. I don't have them all in there, Don.
I'm just going by what the term says. June 2402 to June 2303. It's never been updated.
It's been updated.
And I'll tell you one thing, when I spotted this on the back and then spotted this besides it, I came unglued at home because a lot of this crap was done by Randolph, but nobody on the board known about it.
That's why I put a copy of it in there, so everybody knows about it.
No, none of us knew, I didn't know nothing about this, all these raises and time, you know, a guy working 3 hours a day, or, 15 hours a week, getting all these benefits. People working full-time don't get these benefits.
My question is, the way this is written, it says,
Larry, I'd like to see us just,
Wait a minute, Kathy.
not give them another contract, just extend this one here,
Kathy
day
is-
to day.
Go ahead, Kathy.
You remember
for,
Randolph?
for the
did same
vacation
thing.
Yeah, he
days
did
and the
it.
sick
Jack
days,
did all
it says you are paid a day.
Jack did
I
it.
don't think this
Well,
is
Jack's what he
specific
wanted.
enough. Does it say
He was supervisor.
that the 3 or 4 hours that you're here, is that considered a day, or is a day 8 hours? I think this should be
They
more
consider his
specific.
day the 3 hours he puts in each day.
Okay,
Well, he's here from 8 to 11:30,
3 hours, three
Okay.
hours a day, what is he, 4 days a week?
but
4
when,
days a week.
but when we're paying him vacation days, we need to be specific in his contract to say, we will pay you for X amount of hours.
See, the only thing that
Day.
grinds me is Randolph being all and stuff. And
There's
never,
your, these are your renewals.
right, and never notified the board. You never told us anything about these.
We voted on these. We voted on this last one right here.
Yeah, that last one, but everything else about it, nobody knew that was taking place.
I have a question.
Randolph did.
Why is there even a contract?
Yeah, the contract, that was my next question.
Why do we have a single contract for a single employee? I don't understand that. Again, it goes back to this whole issue
Yeah, it
with
goes
our
back to
office
02.
manager. You're either an employee or you're a contract worker. If you're a contract worker, you're paid a flat rate, no benefits. You're a
That's
contract
right.
worker. You come in, you do your job, you make whatever hourly rate. It's like paying a company to do it. Or you are a part-time employee who doesn't
No-
qualify for benefits.
No benefits.
According to our current policy, correct?
Yeah,
Is that correct? It's as an employee of the township? The other question I have is what is everybody else surrounding us doing? Because I don't think many townships have a full-time or a part-time or an employee that is an assessor. I think it is a true contract worker. So
I mean, the guy does a good job and everything else, but
I'm sure he does.
why he get all that extra stuff? Again, that was all slipped by when the former supervisor was here.
I guess that goes back to my question, why do we have, we're trying to consolidate contracts with all the rest of our employees, but yet we have this contract that was written back in 2002 for a single person. If that's the case, we might as well negotiate with every single employee separately.
Separately.
So that's my question, is why do we even have this? It's before my time, but
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it should have been written up. It should have been a contract.
I'd
to
just
say
like-
how you get a contract with
I'd like to see us go day to day and advertise for another, because he's getting ready to leave.
Well, he's ready to retire,
Well,
so.
could we table this and then we can do some investigating as to what other townships said, what they're doing, like Herb said, and in talking with other townships, I know that some contract out with other companies and some contract with the county. The county offers that service through St. Clair County.
I think they do now with a class 4 assessor. The county does that.
The county does it. They will contract out to do it for a fee.
Right.
It's a fee.
For a class 4 assessor.
In reality, the supervisor, which is me, is supposed to be the assessor if I'm qualified, which I'm not, and I've never attended any classes, and I don't think I want to start becoming an assessor at this age. It's a lot of schooling. But I mean, if he's asking to have an answer by the 31st of March. So he wants to know if we want to retain him or run his contract out till June.
You can retain him, but he's not gonna get no raises on it.
He's not
Retain-
asking for a raise.
Retain them on a day-to-day basis after it
Well, we
runs
got him
out.
until June right now. We don't
That's
have to
right.
do anything. And all he's asking is something
But is it
ahead
your
of time.
salary
Are
or
we
is it your
are we
salary
even
and your
considering renewing his
vacation?
contract? Or are we
No,
considering
it can-
going elsewhere?
it's
That's, I
not
guess, the
specific
answer.
enough.
That's what he
Well,
wants.
I'd like to see us go out.
So that's what I'm saying, if we can
He's-
do some
He's
research.
way up in the age.
So he contributes.
65.
No, I don't think we want to worry about the age.
If you want to table it, I'll make a motion to table it.
Till we have more information, is that?
Yep. I have to agree with Herb.
I say there's no situation where you can't really take things away from somebody if they get them. Jack Randolph stuff, all that stuff in there.
Well, he's got a contract, I guess, and that's
Yeah.
what, and
Thanks, Randolph.
I've talked to Herb about it, maybe we gotta get a legal interpretation of that too. I don't know, I just dug that out of the archives of the contract, and I got a copy to everybody.
That's it.
Everybody knows what we're doing.
Scares you. Scary.
Jack did it.
So that, we have a motion, who made the motion, Mr. Horn?
Yep.
And do we get a second?
Second.
Greg?
Yes.
Everybody understand the motion is to gather more information to see what other townships do and other municipalities? Okay, is there any further discussion?
I think that should include a survey. I think MTA though.
Yeah, we can go MTA too, yeah. All right. If they have that, but I imagine they have something to help us, we can contact them. So we're gonna table it till we can get more information, see what other municipalities do, check with the MTA.
You want to vote on the table?
Well, we're gonna vote to do that, yeah. So is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor,
All right.
signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, finally, we're moving on to the last thing. The approval of the Urban Drive lift station bid. We got the bids, we opened the bids on the 14th,
Yes.
and we had two bidders. I'll let Andrew, he's with PCE, our engineering company. He's wrote a recommendation in there, in your packet, you'll see, on what they're suggesting we do with that.
So, two bidders replied to the bid request, and the lowest bidder being LaBelle Electric, or LaBelle Development, I guess they're called. And typically we have, is that off? Yeah. Push it. Typically, I have like a bid sheet that would have the different itemized parts of the contract, and that way we could see what I had anticipated the price should be for items versus what they had done. And I don't know if everybody had gotten their LaBelle schedule values that we prepared.
I don't think that was in there.
John sent that to me.
All we got is that cover letter
15th,
that,
it says.
So I got is this.
Yeah, so he does have these scheduled values he shared with us, which we can,
is that breaking down like the landscaping? and-
yes.
Okay. He
Yes.
said he was gonna get that,
Seen
yeah.
that, okay. So,
Or not him, but the
uh,
associate that came to the.
George Summers,
Yeah.
yeah. So that helps me because then I can see that relative to what I had thought he should come in at. I had really only three components to the bid. That's why it wasn't necessary to require them to put that out. One is installation, two is the equipment they're purchasing, three is miscellaneous expenses related to bonds and supervisory markup and that kind of stuff. So, when you look at those items, each one of them is higher than I had anticipated. However, the bigger picture is what is our capital improvement plan for all our stations, all our capital investments as a part of the asset management plan, which I prepared and submitted in January, beginning of January, end of December, beginning of January. So, in the capital improvement plan, I had all 8 stations and what I had anticipated those would be. And so they were between 108,000 and 143,000 total. That includes engineering and everything. If you look at his numbers with engineering added, it's 139,237. So it's less than the high one in our capital improvement plan. If we were to spend that much on each station, we still wouldn't be in a problem. But you're doing a one-off, so you're doing one station versus, let's say you were to do a package of 3 stations, then the unit price could go down. The other thing that can be pushing that price up is his requirement. He is required to be responsible for bypass of the station. So when he's working on it, he's got to hire the person or do the bypassing of that station himself. So there's a lot of uncertainty there versus other towns. The cities may have their own bypass equipment, in which case they'll say you're going to be able to work from 7 to 7 or 7 to 4. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we want to turn the station back on, so you better have everything back together so we can flip the switch and shut off our bypass motor, bypass pump. Because people don't want to hear that in a neighborhood at night, But during the day, you're going to have a pump running if that's the route he takes, and it means.
Well, didn't we have I thought we could give them like a 2-hour window to do some of the.
We could, I wrote that in there, and that was a hint. I don't get involved in the means and methods of the contractors, but I have seen it done several times before, and envisioned in the design what he would do. And I envisioned in the design that he would require a bypass pump, which would mean he was a clever estimator. He would say, hey, you know what, I could do this, but also as a clever estimator, he'd say, I don't want to bank on that, so that'll be kind of like a plus. But if you had 3 stations, then maybe you could do it, or if you had 2, then maybe you could bank on that as a reduction of the construction cost. But it's a 2-pump station. It's a duplex, which means that you could do one side and then turn that side over while the other side's running, and then turn that side over and do the other side without having to necessarily bypass, and utilizing the 2-hour window in your switch. So that is possible, and that's built into the design of our rehabilitation. So do we see that trickle down in the costs? I have not seen that, I'm seeing that he's taking.
You're saying that if
worst
you had
case
it in a
scenario.
breakout, we could take that off if they didn't have to do that, then,
Well, I think it would be legitimized to that. I think you'd have to rebid it. If you were to say, we'll handle the bypass, I think you would say, well, that was what I was going to do, and so you're not going to. You could try.
But right now,
See what he's giving.
we're not responsible for the bypass. of
No,
this.
you're not. No, you're not. So it's really up to you, but knowing that you're high, but you're not higher than the 10-year capital improvement plan. And the other thing being that this one was a situation that is urgent, right?
It's critical, yeah. With spring coming, and this timeline that we have for this right now is already extended way out beyond where we wanted it.
Yeah, and just to give you an idea of the costs of a bypass, typically like Versino, a company like that does bypassing, would charge like $2,500 a week to bypass, like a 5-day window. That's about the ballpark idea of what that costs. So if it goes down on its own tonight, then that's what's going to be having to be put in place
Right.
until we get it fixed. So I think that's why you guys wanted to get a rehab plan, get designed.
Well, I think that too, it's wore out. I mean, we've already tested it, and it's running at less than 50% of its actual value.
Yeah, it's reached its lifetime.
Yeah,
It's well over 4 years old, I believe.
right.
Is this that new pump you were talking about putting in there?
Yes, that's in it. They're gonna do that.
I just don't want to see that pump overwhelm the sewer line on Point Drive. Is there any,
Can't.
can you keep the volume down on it?
Yes. The special thing about that pump is you program it. It runs within a huge range. So you program it to do very little GPMs or big amount of GPMs.
Okay.
It works in a very big range using VFDs, variable frequency.
Okay, you could control the volume.
Yep,
Okay,
yep. That's the nice thing about it.
because Point Drive's gonna need one
That's right.
not too many years from now.
That's right. And actually, the engineering part of it, which hasn't changed at all, is doing those tweaks and optimization, and we won't go to the maximum capacity. We'll go to what it's been determined to run at right now to avoid that very situation, and then try to work towards the 250 G. But that's really not necessary if we're not receiving 250 into the station, you know? That's just what it's capable of doing, you know?
So we'll have a lot of capacity
We'll
there
have it, yeah.
for the rainy season, like March and April, that's when we really need to pump. And they all pump excess.
Oh, I know it.
To answer your question about Point Drive, well, that pump just died.
Did
We had to
it?
buy a new one.
So
And the other
I-
ones,
That feeds into Point Drive. I don't wanna overload Point Drive and we'll
we
have
just
a
put a
mess
brand
in
new
Point
pump on Point
Drive then.
Drive last Friday.
Right.
As long as you can control the flow, why?
Yeah, we can, but, you know, the flow going in is what's going in, so, you need to be able to lift that flow and bring it to the next, station, so. But yeah, we wouldn't inundate it.
So in essence, you're recommended that we take this 117,792 bid.
I think you're risking, yeah, I do. I think alternatively, you'd be risking, costs beyond that, you know, so.
Okay. So, I mean, the price is higher than what you would have liked to see, but we're still within our threshold of your estimate. And you're familiar with LaBelle Development? They're
Yeah.
capable of doing the job?
John more than me, but, they're very reputable.
Okay.
What's the time frame for this lift station?
It's in the contract. It's not very long. I think.
So yeah, actually, a
2
week
months?
of work or a little better.
Yeah, no.
2 months? Not
No.
that.
I think within a month.
Yeah.
We've given them a very short window of time, which also pushes the.
Well,
the
did you
price.
ever check, your,
I forgot to print that one item. That's the one thing I forgot to print.
he was going to check, because when
Hasn't
that George Summers was in here, the low bidder,
Yeah.
when we opened the bids, he reported that he had checked with Kennedy Pump, and it could be 12 weeks, 12 to 15 weeks to get the parts, but you guys had checked with them, and they said like 3 to 4.
Yeah.
Is it 3 to 4 or 12 to 15?
That is a 40.
Because we thought they had it right in stock, I think, when we talked. This are the pumps, the new pumps they're putting in. They're coming out of Kennedy Pump, who is the flight pump distributor for this area. All the pump companies have to go to them to buy the pump. And what they're recommending flights is what,
Yeah. I can't speak for Kennedy Industries and what their inventory looks like. These are 240 pumps. We didn't want to upgrade our service to 480. So that's a newer model. They just recently come out with that, I think, last year, the lower voltage. So I would say their inventory would be more limited, but I wouldn't say that it shouldn't be what we've. Nick Hines is the representative from Kennedy. If he told us 3 to 4 weeks, that's the information.
because that was the contractors.
Now, if he wants to do a panel build out, have Kennedy do that for him and then bring it to him, then maybe that's where the 12 weeks could come from. But the thing is all the components, I designed the panel and we have drawn.
And that's our biggest snag, is building this, control
that's
board.
what an
because we're
electrical-
moving all the controls from down below where it's wet
Yeah.
and it's dangerous to go down in those pits. We're trying to get them all up on top of a rack.
And to avoid that kind of delay, I designed the entire panel for him. So all he needs to do is take my drawings, I have like 8 or 9 electrical sheets, design the panel in the shop, pour the concrete pad and bring it out and drop it in. The wiring gets pulled out of the panel down below and dropped down from the new panel and hooked in, and that'll become the junction box.
Okay.
We'll have the PLC and everything that's there, it's not that old, for the next rehab.
Okay.
So he doesn't need to, lose that, the PLC being taken out and then put in and all that being done on site. It could all be done prior and then brought out.
Right.
So, and I did explain that to them.
I think they're well aware of what they got.
What I hear is that this contract depends on the pump manufacturer.
Yeah, that is a specialized pump, Light N series, but there's a lot of other communities around here that are buying them, so they should have, if they know what they're doing, they should have some in stock, And they're pushing that, they're promoting that series of pumps.
But Flight
This Light N series.
builds pumps as they're ordered, don't they?
I don't know that. I wouldn't see why they would do that, because the range that they work in, you can go from a 125 GPM station all the way to a 450 GPM station. You'd think they would be producing them like cookie cutter, because we can program them here,
We really can't afford to wait, but while we're doing contracts and he's getting his bond and et cetera, it would be good if we had that information to include that in his schedule.
Yeah,
Because
we
where,
need to agree.
he doesn't, if there's liquidated damages involved,
Did we write liquidated damages? And we usually do. It depends what the community wants, but all the other communities, we write in liquidated damages. They have a daily thing. I don't know if we've done that for this contractor or not. But,
that would be important to
it's
know.
our EJC, it's a standard contract in our contract book. That's a standard contract book, EJDC, whatever. So, it should be the same. There should be liquidated damages. If he's late.
But
It's up to you to.
The
ask
dollar-
for the money, though.
The dollar value is blank probably in your standard specs.
See, every time it's different. In utilities, it's one amount, one number. In roads, it's a different number. So if he's doing roads and he's late, then it's X amount of dollars a day. If it's utilities, it'd be a different amount. But there usually is a penalty.
That's standard in,
Yeah, because I know when the last pump station we did, that was the case. And I had written in the liquidated, how much per day. It was $2,000 a day. And, but it was up to the city to decide if they want to enforce that delay or if he had a legitimate reason for being delayed. And he had a panel that was damaged in transportation. So the city decided to allow him to replace it instead of penalizing him.
We did that on the sewer plant too.
I know,
So that's kind of how it goes.
it's quite involved with that.
But you usually would have that written in, and we can verify that.
That's what I was asking.
Yes.
Larry, where's this money gonna come out of?
Right now, the capital projects on
Okay.
the sewer side. But this is all tying together with this asset management, is what he's trying to tell us. We just paid PCE to do an asset management. You missed a couple meetings, but we're being mandated by the state of Michigan to do an asset management
I see
on our
that.
water and our sewer. We've done our employees did the water, we hired PCE to do our sewer. And he's gonna come in next week and explain where we're at with that. And then we're probably, and I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but in my comments, we're gonna have to start talking about the water and sewer rates. What we did with the water was it was due the 1st of January, our water assessment. And as you remember, the committee advised us to raise the water rates 40 cents a thousand, and we said no, which we don't have to do it all in 1 year. But we've got to, we said as a board that we're going to do something, so we got to start looking at that, because it'll be June before you know it.
Oh, I see you transferred some money out into it, so.
We transferred, all that was a transfer. We didn't spend any money, we haven't spent any money, we won't spend any money.
No, it's just a transfer.
Just a transfer over that 100,000. To kind of start this, that'll help us so we don't have to raise those rates to 40 cents.
You'll give them the notice of award. Then there's a notice to proceed.
Usually we do a notice of award, then a contractor meeting where we kick it off, and then that's when clock starts ticking.
Right. He has to have his bond, and
Another-
there is a bond required.
Yeah, that paper came with us.
Provide
That was in the
as a
bid.
Yeah,
The bonds were in the bid.
Yeah, you
That's a
should
bid,
have-
that's a bid bond, but he needs another bond to do the work. Or is, I don't know how your bonds are written.
He's supposed to provide his insurances, his,
The bonding company.
yeah, the bonding company.
But the bid bond
Bid
is-
bond.
But then there's a bonding company that,
Yeah, it should be the same.
Should have a
It's specified.
performance and payments bond.
Sorry?
Should have a performance and payment bond.
Right. Yeah, so he needs to provide that.
that's different than the bid bond.
Yeah.
I think we need to make a list, the information that we'll need between the notice of award and notice to proceed. To clarify these questions that we've had. There's one other thing I'm losing my mind. Oh, then you should give them a time limit to produce the,
There is a
Bonds.
timeline in that.
Yeah.
I think it was May 20th was the final.
For substantial completion? Yeah. And that's what needs to be agreed upon when it kicks off, that he's gonna complete by this.
And that was a
This
date
has a
that we were
time-sensitive-
worried about because it
Yeah.
puts us out about another month.
Yeah, it's time-sensitive.
but we, in the contract is, the bidding contract should, that's in the bidding contract. So he knows that right now, how many days he's got.
Right.
From the notice to proceed. What I'm saying is that between the notice of award and the notice to proceed, he needs to provide a lot of paperwork.
Is there a timeline on finishing this once they get started?
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, there's a deadline for substantial completion.
That's hard for me to hear from way down there.
And what we've done is, because it's set at a certain setting right now, I mean, from a technical setting. It's set at a certain setting right now, so he'll be required to put it back to the current setting. So that way it's operational when he puts it back. And then we can come in and we can do any performance changes and things like modification and include reconnecting the SCADA communication and things like that, because that would delay its substantial completion. We want it done and operating on site, and then we can do integrating work, because it wouldn't affect our pump station. But all these things are in, like the standard bid document package, and it has all its sections. It says all the things that he needs. He was to fill that out and submit it, I believe he did, right, with his bid. So, yeah, when we do the notice of award, we'll give him that list.
We have the bid packets.
Basically a summary of those items.
You have the bid
Yeah,
package?
you guys took the bid
Bond.
packets.
Yeah, we do.
They got them. You can look at them.
Yeah, Jeff did that one. Telling him all those items he needs to provide to us, so we can sign this contract.
No, what I was getting at, is there a time limit between award and notice to proceed?
I think what we did is we requested his bid to be valid for a period of time.
Right.
Was it 30 days or 60 days or something?
Well, some contractors come in with a song and dance about how they don't have enough time to complete the paperwork.
Oh. Yeah, I wouldn't expect them to do that. I mean, usually when they're doing these kind of jobs, they have all that ready. We don't really see the problem bonding that they usually have. So,
Oh, you're familiar with this contractor?
yeah, this one, we don't.
This is a small job. If they can't bond
kind of a-
$117,000, they shouldn't be doing this work. This
We
is-
gotta do something there, Larry. What do you need? You need a motion to,
Well, I would think we need a motion to proceed with, to let the bid to the bidder of
I'll make,
Bell Development.
I'll make the motion that we award for the Urban Drive Pump Station improvements, make the award to LaBelle Development in the amount of $117,792.
I'll support.
It's been moved and supported that we award the bid of $117,792 to the Bell Development. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. I guess I have one question. We'll get all that information for Greg and we can look
Yes.
at it.
Absolutely.
Okay, no further discussion? Roll call, please.
Loda,
Yes.
Horn,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Blackstock.
Yes.
Town, yes. Simons.
Yes. Motion carries. Okay. Now we're moving on to announcements. I have no announcements here, so we'll go on to board comments. Mr. Horn. Got any comments? Don?
Yeah, I went through the cemetery on my journeys through the township today, and that whole northwest side is flooded. It's too bad that they can't bore a thing through there and run that water into that woods. The woods is a lot lower.
Who owns the
Woods is
woods?
not ours.
Yeah, I know that, but
He'll
it's
be
full
here.
of water all the
Well,
time anyhow.
we had that last spring, we had that. when-
Oh, it's
Frost.
terrible today.
I bet it was terrible. I got pictures on my phone from last year on it. And I'll get Blaine up there to pump it.
Okay,
And that's what we did before. We put a
Put a-
sump in there and then
put a-
pumped it. We just pumped it over.
I dug a hole in the low side, low part, and
Right, 'cause
put a
it's-
pump in.
It's
Okay,
Rose Hill, it's on a hill.
But
You
it's-
wouldn't think the water would gather on the top of the hill, but it does.
it's not a good thing.
All right, I'll have Blaine do that tomorrow.
If you,
That's all I have.
if you pump it off site, is that, we already have a permit for that?
No. Do you want to get one?
I don't know if it is.
No, we
one
pump it on
is
our
one
site. We just
is one
pump it
necess-
onto the road to get it out, and then the road dissipates out.
Oh, you pump it into the drainage, road drainage.
No, that's another watershed. The road has their own.
Do we need a permit? Pump off site?
We're not pumping, we're pumping on site onto the
Pumping
roads.
from one part of your site to the other.
Oh, it is? Oh,
Yeah, we're
okay.
pumping on the roads and then
'Cause
it
he was-
dissipates off the roads.
He was talking about a.
He was talking, we would need a permit if we're gonna dump it onto somebody else's property.
That's
which
what I thought we were
We're
doing.
not doing that, no.
Okay,
But we pump it onto the roads and it dissipates out.
I understand that.
That's all you have, what do you have, Mr. Bowman?
I have nothing this evening, thank you.
Mr. Talon?
None?
Nothing.
Blackstock?
Nothing.
Mrs. Blair? The only thing, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, you know, we're gonna have to start looking into these water and sewer rates. So we're getting these reports, we've already got the water one, and we're gonna get the sewer one next week. So probably on the next meeting, you guys are gonna start talking about that. The only other thing I got is that I'm gonna be going on vacation by the 1st of March, so I'm probably gonna miss a meeting in March, so somebody will have to be the chair. I will have, I will get the agenda presented to you. You won't have to worry about it.
Take
I'll be
me
in
with you.
contact. Huh?
Take me with you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I got a spare seat.
Going south,
Get the hell out of here for a while.
going south,
So,
so
I will do it myself.
I'll sit in the trunk, also.
Don't have a truck. Okay, that's all I have. I guess a motion to adjourn would be in order.
Make a motion, we adjourn at 8:44.
Support.
We have a motion to adjourn at 8:44. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried, we're adjourned. Thank you. Sorry.